Another week, another edition of the Snapshot. Tommy, I hope you've still got time for the little people, mate. I know you've been rubbing shop down in Adelaide, but I hope you've seen plenty of footy too. Did you manage to fit that into your schedule, mate?
I certainly did. I was at Friday night. I ended up flying back Saturday night, got to the Gold Coast and West Coast yesterday, seen plenty of footy. Not a bad round in the end, but a couple of teams struggling, falling away. But I did miss probably the game of the round, Geelong versus Carlton.
Was the game of the round, and we've got some big games coming up this weekend as well, some big derby games that we will get into shortly. The team you just mentioned there, though, West Coast, pretty keen to dive in on some Jake Waterman chat. He's starting to firm up now in the Coleman medal chase. 21 goals to his name, if you don't mind. Only kicked the 18 last year. Has kicked some pretty big bags over the last few weeks. 6 against the Tigers, 4 against the Suns last week. It just looks like he's the emerging forward in that West Coast forward line since Josh Kennedy has retired. $13 now for the Coleman. Was closer to triple figures just over a month ago. Look, tell me, mate, do you think this is just a purple patch, or is Waterman a genuine chance for the Coleman?
I think he's a genuine chance. The way he plays and the way West Coast play, he's their main man inside 50, and he's gonna get the ball kicked to him a lot, and he's good in the contest. He's strong. Darling, he looked a little bit off yesterday. He had a good opponent on him, but he just looked a little bit off. So I think he is, and they were pretty impressive for large chunks of the game yesterday as well, West Coast Eagles. So I think realistically he is a chance to win it, and I wouldn't mind a bit of those triple figures that you just tossed around, having a bit of money on that back a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it's still not too late to get on. As I said, $13. He's only 25 years old, this young man. Still got a bit of beef to put on. So I think you're right. He's a genuine chance in the Coleman market, especially since he's going to get the bulk of the goals. Looking ahead, though, we've got the first showdown of the year coming up this week. You played in plenty of these games against the Crows. Built the foundations of the club, let's not forget. Adelaide. Got a pretty good glimpse of Port Adelaide last week. I feel like you did in that 10-point win over St Kilda. And both of these clubs are at complete opposite ends of the ladder right now. Scoring can still be a bit hit and miss for the Power, it seems, and they've got a few potentially big outs this weekend, Rosie, Alir, and Pal Pepper. Do you see Port Adelaide applying that same kind of pressure that they did last week to the Saints against the Crows?
Yeah, I think they will. I think the Crows nearly have to be in favourites going into it. You throw the ladder and form out when you go into a showdown. I've seen it so often where the team lower on the ladder gets up and wins this game. They're always cracking contests. But Port Adelaide's outs for me are going to be the thing that, in my opinion, makes the Crows favourites going into the game. Rosie's a big out. He'll be 50-50, I think. I don't think it's as bad as a normal hamstring, but the 6-day turnaround makes it really, really tough for him. I think to get up, Alir, we know won't play. He was out with concussion, and the big injury of Sam Powell-Pepper with ACL is disappointing for him. It's been a tough year for him after being elevated in the leadership group. Adelaide Crows, they went down there. They just had to win that game of footy, didn't they? If they lost that to North Melbourne, then the drums would have been beating, and it would be a horrible place to be. But they did what they had to down at Blundstone Arena, got hold of them and really smacked North Melbourne, which I think everyone's doing. I think everyone would be looking forward to playing North Melbourne at present. So they may have captured a bit of form. They've been disappointing so far to start the season. So Thursday night, I think, shapes as probably, it's hard to say match of the round because you look down and there's just cracking games everywhere. The next night, you got Carlton and Collingwood, and then Giant second v third. That's going to be a ripper. Just great games all weekend, but really looking forward to the showdown to kick things off. So just to get this on record, mate, you're tipping the Crows? I think they have to be favourites. I'm not tipping them, but I think they should be favourites.
Right, okay. As a man that's built the foundations of Port Adelaide, that's a headline. You know, you've already created enough headlines this week.
I know. I can't tip against Port Adelaide. I've literally built the joint, so it would be a little bit wrong of me to tip against them.
Well, let's see if you'll tip against one of your other clubs, and that is Brisbane going into what is arguably one of the biggest Q clashes of all time. Late on Sunday night against the Suns. Big game for the Suns. If they win this, they're probably looking at a spot in the 8. The Lions looked very disjointed last week trying to move the ball forward against GWS. Doesn't look like they have a lot of answers coming. Chris Fagan is sort of lost for words. They're going to get a bit of a boost in the ruck again with Oscar McInerney probably coming back in. The Suns did win the last QClash against Brisbane late last year, snapped that long hoodoo against them, and similar story emerged that time. Brisbane just couldn't kick straight, and that's really been the story of their season so far. Are you surprised to find Brisbane as short as $1.48?
Yes and no. Like, you look at the Gold Coast yesterday, and West Coast, 4 minutes to go in that game, only 18 points down. So Gold Coast didn't play that well. They kicked 3 goals in 3 minutes and the scoreboard blows out. But their midfield of the Suns is so strong. Their forward line operates well, but their ball movement's not where it needs to be. They just make silly errors and cough up easy goals. And if you do that to Brisbane at the Gabba, they can pile them on quickly. Like, as bad as they've been this year, we've still seen them pile goals on. They did it against Carlton round 1. They've done it a couple of times where they just put their foot down. And Gold Coast, if that happens to them, they could get blown away. So I think Brisbane will get it done, and Oscar McInerney is a massive, massive in for the Brisbane Lions if he does get up and play, because Jared Witts was clearly best on ground yesterday, and what he does for the Gold Coast Suns, he's an exceptional player. He looks tired in the warm-up and just gets it done week in, week out. So McInerney needs to play for the Lions and play well and get the footy going. But, yeah, I'd be leaning towards Brisbane, but in saying that, I wouldn't be surprised if the Suns won.
Well, with that in mind, you're not going to like what I've tipped in the multi this week.
Oh, you haven't.
Before we get to that, we'll recap what happened last week because it was a bit of a disaster. I took the Crows to cover against North Melbourne. That was free money, basically. Then I took the under between the Dockers and the Dogs, which fell over by half a point. So chalk that up to a bad beat. You had GWS head-to-head against Brisbane. Great value going into that one. And then what happened from there?
Well, that was the free money for me on the weekend, was the Giants getting the Lions off a 5-day break after wet weather. And then I think I took Carlton. We spoke about Carlton and Geelong, didn't we? And I said that Carlton head-to-head I thought was good value as well. And, I was close. I thought they were a bit stiff to lose that. Geelong were in front for a long period of time, but Carlton had their opportunity. And, again, bad goal kicking cost another team a potential victory.
I thought Carlton were the better team on the day, just looking back at the stat sheet, so very unlucky to lose that one. This week, though, you've gone back to the well with a couple of player picks. I'll let you discuss those ones. Yeah,
certainly have. We're recording a little bit later than what we did last week, so there is a couple of player markets up. I'm going to go back to some old faithfuls. I think Brody Myercheck to kick 2+. He always bobs up for goals, so big Friday night at the MCG against Carlton. I think we can lock him in for 2+, and then Harry Sheasel 30+. I was tempted to do 35+, but we need to just get another win on the board, so I'll just leave it at 30+.
I like it. Yeah, I can't argue with the way you're going on these player picks at the moment. I know you've already detested this one, but I've gone North Melbourne to cover against St Kilda. 36.5 point line. I just don't think the Saints are capable of blowing a team away right now, and I think that line is just a little bit too long for mine. And then, again, I've gone the Gold Coast Suns plus 13.5 against Brisbane. Really good team of getting the ball inside 50. So if that is the case on Sunday, I think the Lions are going to have a pretty big fight on there. To recap, though, we've got Brody Myercheck 2+ goals against Carlton. And then from the same game, I've taken North to cover against St Kilda. You've taken Sheasel 30+ disposals. And then to bring us home, last game, makes me nervous, the Gold Coast Suns plus 13.5 against the Lions in the QClash. Bag it all up, we're getting $8.34.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Hopefully we're live on Sunday night at 7:10, public holiday on Monday. We might be popping the champagne bottles, Ryan, on Sunday night if we can get this one over the line.
If not, I can expect another nasty text from your good self. You can find that multi in the special section on the Neds app under AFL. Tommy, good betting chat as always, mate. Go well this weekend.
Good on you, Ryan.